World Vision is a nonprofit based out of Washington, though they have offices all around the world. The organization began in 1950 with their founder, Dr. Bob Pierce, who was a missionary to China and South Korea. World Vision focuses generally on children and their welfare. This can be shown through the variety of their programs that are tailored to benefit children and their families. According to Forbes 100 Largest U.S. Charities 2018, World Vision was ranked as number 18. This is important as it shows the extent of the revenue they have made, adding up to $1 billion. World Vision is based out of many different countries around the world, all which are centered on the four focuses of Christianity, children, community, and measurability. These are the foundations of core values which World Vision uses to deploy programs. World Vision also takes time to be transparent about their work by giving first-party accounts of the impact, as shown in the picture. World Vision is currently working in a very competitive market. There are many organizations that are working towards the same goals. Samaritan's Purse and Compassion International are two of the main competitors. Their main focus is on children's welfare, which is carried out by their child sponsorship programs. They also have other projects that are to improve the lives of children in marginalized communities. Both organizations are faith-based and have strong international presence. When it comes to industry overview, we'll look to Porter's 5 Forces framework, beginning with the potential of new competitors. It is likely that the work that each organization is doing will become less effective in each country, with new organizations being able to reach a more niche audience through distinct ideologies. For buyers, for nonprofits, it is countries and those they are helping. They may choose to partner or have already partnered with competing nonprofits. The country's governments may not allow for the NGO to work there, or even the buyer may create their own backward integration with the government fulfilling the role the NGO could have. For substitutes, the work that World Vision is doing is easy to duplicate, as shown by competing NGOs that hold similar programs, as well as there has not been any significant innovations when it comes to the programs. The bargaining power of the suppliers is the potential to partner with other organizations or for sponsors to choose other organizations or to even not donate at all. With some donors, it might be difficult to meet their expectations of the work, especially when it comes to receiving government funds. Finally, for competitive rivalry, internally this can be finding new niches of needs, and externally, it could be the amount of cities that need to be reached, resources needed, or sponsors and donors. For the SWOT analysis, in the strength part for World Vision, the organization is pretty strong with their international reach with 100 different locations throughout the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Another strength of the organization is their structure, which has created a system that ensures that every branch is actively working towards the overall vision of the organization. Also, they possess one of the largest annual budget within the children's sponsorship organizations. For their weaknesses, World Vision International is a religious institution which can deter some potential donors. Additionally, World Vision has been described as a poor collaborator due to the fact that they do not create partnerships with other institutions. And finally, World Vision has a wide range of projects and programs which has made it hard to focus on a specific goal. World Vision has many opportunities. One of them is to collaborate with other organizations internationally to have a greater impact. Additionally, their celebrity endorsement can potentially be used to broaden their donor base. When it comes to threats, World Vision is vulnerable to be targeted for religious persecution from extremist groups. World Vision International is also vulnerable to lose funding from private donors if they are not allocating their money appropriately. They could also lose government funding, which their budget relies on more than 40% of its government grants. VRIO, which stands for the question of value, rarity, immutability, and organization. Value. The value found in World Vision is through their already established connection with nearly 100 countries. The high amount of government funding they receive, along with their also established donor and sponsor base and recognizable name. The rarity is based in their government funding and partnership with USAID, as well as World Vision also holds a more universal stance when it comes to faith and religion in comparison with other religious NGOs, which makes them more inclusive to a variety of people. For immutability, it is easy to see that the competitors are able to keep up with World Vision's financial structure, as well as the programs they employ. Despite it taking a while to develop into a successful nonprofit, the resources are easy to imitate. Though the programs between the different NGOs are different, they are not so distinct that the average sponsor would be able to tell. Other organizations are able to structure it where around 5% is for management or administration and around 8% is for fundraising, while the remainder is being filtered back into programs. The structure of the organization is divided into an international and national board. World Vision International holds 23 members on their board of directors, each focusing on a different country or region. All are under the leadership of the new president, Edgar Sandoval Sr. We will specifically be focusing on World Vision Korea, as they will be a part of the emerging market. For our strategy, we advise World Vision International to look to Korea as an emerging market, to broaden their sponsor base internationally and work with emerging developed Christian countries. The strategy would involve going to Korea to find sponsors and donors. Korea holds a fast-growing movement of Christianity, and as stated in 2010, roughly 3 in 10 South Koreans were Christian. This rapid growth combined with religion's freedom provides a perfect market to begin gaining devoted sponsors from. The CEO of World Vision Korea looks at the culture of Korea, showing that they are a good place to gather sponsors from. As the culture of sharing has grown and widely settled in Korea, many citizens are involved in the activities of domestic and international non-governmental organizations in various ways. Looking at Hofstede's dimensions, we can see that Korea is slightly hierarchical. They are a collectivist society, they are rated as more feminine than masculine, avoid uncertainty, long-term oriented, and they tend to restrain their desires and impulses. Along with focusing on fundraising in Korea, part of the strategy is to partner with a secular NGO there. Good Neighbors is an NGO based out of Korea who shares similar values, goals, and programs as World Vision International. This will not only make World Vision more universal to both Christians and non-Christians, but it is a better way to gain connections and prolific internal workings of fundraising in Korea. Based on our research, we recommend World Vision to consider the following strategies. First, they should develop international sponsors and donors. They should focus on Korea, since it is an emerging market, and it has a very fast-growing Christian population. World Vision has the advantage of having offices and operations in South Korea, which makes the process easier for them. We encourage World Vision to accomplish this by creating partnerships with local churches and missionary organizations, as well as to create alliances with businesses that are potential donors. The second recommendation is about focusing on better marketing strategies. One major downfall we found is that organizations in this industry are hard to differentiate their current programs from other competitors. So through a more targeted marketing campaign, they can stress the value of each program and the impact it has. Also, among their marketing, World Vision International should focus on fundraising to specific programs and not to the general fund. And finally, World Vision International should broaden their marketing efforts to target all publics, Christians, non-Christians, businessmen, and others to get a large donor base. Look at the example of Charity Water and how they started a new tradition of fundraising through birthday gifts. We should accomplish these strategies by focusing on 3 developing stages as a pilot program. As a start, we should start meeting with different organizations and businesses. This will lead to the developing stage number 1, which consists of fundraising and expanding connections. This will be followed by developing stage number 2, which consolidates partnerships, and the last developing stage will be differentiating new programs, which will lead to other emerging economies. The change that World Vision International will be implementing is to increase support to World Vision Korea, create accountability with growth, improve the marketing tools, encourage the organization to market to other cultures, and to develop meaningful relationships with other organizations. The image shown is the organizational structure of World Vision Korea. For process improvement, we intend to improve the process with the DMAIC model. We define our problem as relying too heavily on government funding, up to 40%, and finding new markets to raise funds. We measure this issue by looking at their revenues. We found out that most of the funds come from the US and Canada, so there is a need to raise money in other countries. We also analyze this by looking at the potential opportunities in different regions and emerging economies like South Korea. We improve this process by taking advantage of the international presence that World Vision International has to expand the fundraising efforts. And we lastly control this by relying on our measure and adapt system, which allow us to see if our current efforts are working or not.